Hello and welcome everyone. I am Vangelis and this is the last video from the tutorial series of the Alma CSV User Load Cloud App. Now we're going to analyze the delete operation, so how can you practically delete Alma users in bulk using the Cloud App. There are two key things that you need to know. The first one is that you would only need the primary ID of the users that you wish to delete. Either those ones are external or internal ones. And this means that in your CSV file you would only need to have a primary ID column. The second one is that it's important for you to save a backup file. As a precaution to human errors, maybe you would delete some users that you wouldn't wish to do so. So this is important for you to reload, re-add users using the Cloud App. So let's first dig into the backup options. It doesn't really matter in which format your backup file is going to be, either it's an Excel or a CSV file, as long as you have saved all the necessary data for the users that you plan to delete. Now, since I have added new users from scratch in the previous videos, I have already my backup files prepared. As an efficient alternative, we can use Alma Analytics as an interesting option to export a backup file. However, since we are talking about personal data, I advise you to be extremely careful to protect your users' privacy. Let's move on to the handout section, and I have prepared an analytics dashboard that will allow you to export the data of your users. This is just an example that you may grasp from it and just work on it, and maybe it will help you out. So here we have a dashboard. It includes a prompt for the primary identifier, so you can actually input the primary ID of your users in order to filter out all of the users. And here we have two examples. This is the most complete version that you may have, that you may need for the users. So you can see that it's more than enough. It contains mandatory Alma fields like the first name, the last name, and the primary identifier. You can see, of course, that there are two user types, the internal and the external one. This is also important for you because you would need to define it in the Cloud App. We have a user group, which is also mandatory in some cases, as you have seen. So we will need to assign this value in our CSV file, in our CSV column, to assign actually the user group in our user. Maybe your user has a job description, a preferred language also, an expiration date, which is also important to know and to define when this account expires, when our user account expires. Not so important, but an additional information, an additional field is the resource sending library. Maybe our user has a role type, usually this is a patron. And the contact information like the preferred email and the email type. Probably you remember from the previous videos, you need to assign an email type if you would like to assign an email to your user. The same principle stands for the address. So you can see the address line 1 here, which corresponds to the address of your user. And then only for the external users, we can see that they have an additional ID type, which is a barcode in this case for the external user, and of course the additional ID value. And seeing this dashboard, the only thing that matters now is to know how we can actually export our data, the data of our users. We can export an Excel file. So we would export the current page. We can access the export from the settings, this cog icon on the right top corner, and export to Excel. So we export the current page. Our export is complete. And let's see. Indeed, the data of our users has been exported, so now we have our backup file. Okay, but this was just an example on test accounts. So let's move immediately on the hands-on section of the CSV file. But before, you need to know something really important. So when your users are deleted from Alma, all of their data are being anonymized. I guess that this is a privacy by design principle. So it's important for you to perform the export before deleting your users, because afterwards the data of your users is going to be anonymized in Alma and the information is not going to be retrievable for you. So let's move on to the CSV file. This is probably the most interesting and at the same time the most useful operation, and it's the most simple operation in this case, to delete users using the Cloud App. So we will need only one profile. Let's access the app. and let's see it side by side to our CSV file. So we would need actually only one profile to delete users. In this specific case, we have defined the user type as internal, so the same principles apply to the internal and the external users. Our operation is to delete, of course, and in the field mapping section we have the header, which corresponds to the name of the column in our CSV file, which is the primary identifier, and we match it to the ALMA field, so the name corresponds to the ALMA field, which is the primary ID. As long as the data, the information from our CSV file, the primary identifiers are going to be matched with the primary ID in ALMA, the application, the Cloud App, is going to be smart enough to delete those users. So let's see a CSV example side by side. Okay. So, as we said, this is our CSV file. We have a first name and a last name, but this is only for our own readability and for this tutorial. Actually, you could only include the primary identifier column in your CSV file, as we have said many times. So those users are internal, and let's see those users. Let's search for them based on their ID, primary ID. Indeed, we have an internal user, which is Ella Smith, with this ID, and then this is our second user. Indeed, Chris Doe exists, and then Joe Jones exists. These are all existing users that we would like to delete. So we access the app in the Cloud App Center. We access the settings page. We see indeed that everything is correct. Internal users, delete, and the primary identifier column is matched to the primary ID. We go to the home page, or as I like to call the load page, where you load your users, and we browse our system to find the CSV file. We click on load users. We confirm that we want to delete those 3 users in ALMA. We click OK, and as you can see, our request has been processed. So now we need to confirm by searching using their primary IDs. So let's search. No, indeed, no user with this primary ID. We can also try the other users. No user with this primary ID. Indeed, all of our users have been deleted and our operation was successful. The same principle would apply for the external users. So let's see an example. Let's take a look at an example. So we have again the primary identifier column, and we can search based on the primary identifier. We can see that the names are the same, but the users are different because they have a different primary identifier. So for the sake of simplicity, we use the same names but with a different primary identifier. Those are external users. This is the only difference. So they have a different primary identifier. So those users, they do exist indeed. All of our users exist. Yes. So let's access the app again in the Cloud App Center. We need to go to the settings page and just change the user type to external. This is the same operation. The only difference is that you need to change the user type. So you go to the home page, browse again, find the appropriate CSV file. We click load the users. We confirm that we want to delete those 4 users in ALMA, and everything has been processed. We can just try and see. Yeah, indeed, all of our users have been deleted successfully. So that was the last video from the tutorial session. I hope that I helped you in order to find your steps and use the Cloud App, use the ALMA CSV user load. If you have any questions, I would be happy to help. Until the next time, just be safe. Bye bye.